Hi, this is Lucille again, and today I wanted to do another video on another junk journal that I made for the book fair that I'm doing. Previously I showed you a junk journal for the spider, and I accidentally said shadow, and that's because I also did a shadow, and so I wanted to share that with you today. This is a shadow junk journal. The shadow is known as Kent Allard, but he also disguised himself as someone named Lamont Cranston. He was very elusive. Nobody really knew who he was. A few people did. He had a few confidants. But his identity also changed in the Pulp era of the 30s, the radio show. He was one character. In the Pulps he was another. In the movies he switched back and forth between Kent Allard and Lamont Cranston. But for the Pulps era, I'm using Kent Allard as his true identity. I keep the same format as I did with the Spider junk journal, and I did another Doc Savage, which I'll show you next time, and I kept the same format. My reasoning for that is that I'm going to be selling these side by side, and I wouldn't want someone to look through it and like a feature in one and then they didn't get it in the other one. I thought that would cause a problem, but later on in some of the other ones that I did quite a few of them, I did change it up quite a bit, completely actually. But let's take a look at the Kent Allard or the Shadow Pulp. So it opens up. I always have an illustration. My background is from illustration. I always did a lot of paper craft. I just started basically doing junk journaling, watching Seven Plaza, Bohemian Crafter, Nick the Bookman. Plenty of people on YouTube is a great source, and there's so many talented people. You should, I don't have to tell you to check them out. I'm sure you know all about them. But I've always watched them, and they influence me in what I do. The thing is that the way my brain works, I need to have a focal point. I can't just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to make something. What am I going to make? I have to have a direction, and that's why I love these, because the pulp shows, the Pulp Fiction, Pulp era really gave me a direction, and as you're going to see, I ran with it. So again, I always do some illustrations in my book. This is a newspaper. There was a headline on a cover of a Pulp magazine, and I took that headline and then I continued the story as if it was a real newspaper story that he kept. My first tuck spot, I have a vintage advertisement about hypnotism. The Shadow used hypnotism. He used mind control, form of hypnotism, on his subjects, shall I say. And so it would make sense that he would have that in his book. This is an image from the Pope, and I extended the flash of the guns to go across onto the paper, just for a little interest. Here is my signature matchbooks, and again, paper matches, they're not real matches. This is a neat picture. Again, he was a World War I ace, and he had his best friend, Cliff Marsland. So this is a picture of them in Paris, 1918. And it's said that in the stories, a lot of their adventures were lost. So it's kind of cool to have that picture of them to memorialize that. This is Margot Lane. Margot Lane is, I guess, a love interest, and she's also a confidant, one of his several cohorts, if you will. Okay, and again, I have my my folder.